Having some technical difficulties right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's show. Welcome. Again, we would like to thank everyone for joining us. This is your host, Koshon. We have a few of our co-hosts coming in, and we have a guest panelist today. Deborah, welcome. Ladies, take your time, introduce yourselves, please.
I can hop in there first. So my name is Zippor Najia, and I am an artist and an educator. I'm also in the age range where I sit between generations. I'm 38, and I have a very pressing question I would like to ask when the time is right.
Okay. And our other panelists, Deborah, Robin, would you like to introduce yourselves? Tell us a little about yourselves.
I'll hop in there. My name is Deborah. I am in education, and that's actually how I met Koshon. I also, have a YouTube channel that I do. It's more of a healing thing for myself, but, if it'll help the masses, by all means. From the New York area, currently living in Jacksonville, and I am glad to be here.
Okay. Robin, press your microphone. You're muted, Robin. Hey, go ahead.
Okay, I figured it out. So I'm Robin, right? I probably had 25 plus years in sales, primarily business to business sales, but I'm no longer in corporate America. I had a stroke and just at home chilling. I'm on disability. And let's see. And I grew up in the city, downtown Charleston.
Okay. Welcome. Well, let's jump right in and get started. Deborah, do you want to read your first question so we can get started?
Yes, this is actually my only question because I've been thinking about it for a while. So it's been said that men immediately, within seconds of meeting a woman, categorize her in one of three ways. One being a potential mate, two being a friend with benefits, and three being a sexual conquest. And I'm wondering if this is true for the men on this panel.
Oh, that is a great question. I think that varies based on the individual, and that trait can actually change. That's very interesting because at one point in life that was true for me. And of course, as I matured, that changed. Oh man, you struck a nerve. Unique just joined in on this one. Terry, out of respect, would you like to go first with answering that question? Because I don't know. We can't hear you right now. I'll continue, Deborah. That's a great question. So when I was younger, right? Like really young, I was attracted to girls at a very young age. So I mean like elementary school young, everybody was just beautiful. Everybody was the one. When I got to middle school and you hear about, people getting names, right? So girls getting names, and then you have your older homeboys, big cousins that are telling you they would categorize the women before I got to meet them. So I think that we were told, oh, she's a good girl. Oh, she's a freak, or however. And then when I got to college, it became a game. My friends and I would try to guess in what type of woman a girl would be out of those categories, right? Just based on appearance or similar traits. And of course it was just a game, right? We would say, oh man, I can tell by the way she walks. She's this. Oh, she's too friendly. But as far as engaging, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. But again, the premise of the show is communication. So I prefer to come straight out and ask a person because I'm not judgmental, and I'm like, hey, whatever your preference is, that's what it is. If you're interested in whatever, be open and honest and say it, because I wouldn't be upset about you dealing with other men. I would be upset about you lying about dealing with other men. But I've never said, oh, she's a whore. Just seeing someone initially, like, because the way she's dressed or where I saw her, if she's on, well, I don't go to clubs, but if she was at a bar or grill or whatever, or even at church, because people hang out in all places. You can go to church and meet wife material. You can meet a freak, so you cannot base it off of how a person's dressed. You can't base it off of the proximity. So personally, it's like, I think we should just ask and see what type of person she is. But we're going to revisit this. Terry, give you the mic, man, so you can.
Can I jump in there real quick?
Yes, yeah.
And just complicate the question a little bit and give some context?
Yes.
So it's interesting that you mentioned categories like good girl, all that stuff. So some context to the question. I grew up Muslim, and for a very long time in my teenagehood and early adulthood, early 20s, I wore khimar. I covered fully. However, my nurture did not match my nature. I am a very sensual and very comfortably sensual woman. And at a certain point in my young adulthood, I would say post college, undergrad, I had to take off some clothes and some constructs around the way that I presented in society. So to this day, upon meeting me, and just this is my pushback on the categories and the freak versus the good girl. Let me just say that's all BS. It's not real. It's not real, because there's a totality to the way that women express femininity and sensuality in the world. And for example, myself, I may present initially, upon first glance, depending on where you catch me, as conservative woman, but start talking to me, you'll find out something different. And so during my transitional phase, there was a time period where I decided that I was on this 3-man plan. So the 3-man plan consisted of a man my age, a man 10 years younger, and a man 10 years older. And I have to say, I got some crazy manifestation techniques. So the moment that I declared that that was my plan, I met a man who was 10 years younger, a man who was 2 years older, and one who was 10 years or 2 years older than me, and then one who was 10 years older. So there's the 3. And I asked each of these men, I told them up front, I'm propositioning you for a 3-man plan. I explained what it was and why it was. And to my surprise, each of them agreed. And the interesting part was that I was questioned later on about, how did you come to this? Come from your background, you're a good girl. And it blows my mind that we are still stuck in these categories. And when it comes to my question, I'm looking for honesty about intentions, because I think that if people were to look beyond the surface level categorization, they would find that there's so much nuance in this way of presenting.
I want to chime in for a second, and we kind of touched the surface on this on a previous episode, and we talked about the challenges that men face in getting through those layers, right? And when, because myself, I am an immediate person, like within the first conversation, I'm asking these questions, but men express their concern because women, you're rare, right? Well, I won't say that you're rare in your actions. You're rare in your willingness to express how you feel. I think a lot of women feel the way you do, but they won't openly say it, right? So they have this image that they want to portray, and they will naturally take offense to men asking those questions or talking about sex and sexuality. And it's like, oh, you just met me and you're already talking about sex? So men have this clock, like, and we discuss, so we ask women, like, at what point do you feel comfortable? And some women will say, hey, I can talk about it immediately. Others are like, oh, you will know when that time comes. So that's the challenge that men face. And it's like, hey, cut the act, quit playing, And I'm the guy that will say, look, I'm non-judgmental. If I like you, I like you. We can have sex on the first night and get married down the road, right? Because you were open and honest about the person that you are. But I also know that some women, it's like, and I don't even want to call it an egocentric personality, but those labels are viewed negatively. So they try to avoid having any of those labels attached to them. So they're always putting their best foot forward, or they're trying to paint a picture of who they are, or at least who they want you to think that they are. And then this creates bigger problems for our relationships, because how did this come about, right? Because if you're masking who you are and what you want to do, eventually it comes out, but how do you present it to your mate? Because if you came off yeah, because if you came off as this good girl, right? And then all of a sudden we're riding, on a back road somewhere, and you want to pull over and have sex. How do you say that to him when you've acted like you've been a nun the entire time? So now it creates a second lie. You've already lied about who you are. Now you have to lie about what sparked this, what triggered it. And it's, oh, my girlfriend said they tried this or this was on a movie or in a book, or just, you have to make up an excuse for why you're now being who you've been the entire time. So these are challenges that men face. Well, and I say I personally, but I say men because I've discussed this with other guys, and even here on the show, and we talk about, finding that, how can I describe it? Like happy medium, or when we can discuss it, what's the time frame, and a follow up to you. But I'm sure this may have changed as you matured and grow and have grown older. When was it appropriate for men to discuss sex and sexuality for you and all of you women, Robin, Deborah as well? When was it comfortable, or did you see it appropriate for men to discuss sex, sexual preferences, like how do you like it? What would you want me to do? And things like that.
I mean, well, for me, myself, I will say, because I was raised in such way of where, at least with my mom, like talking about, sex and things like that, she never wanted to do those things with us. So I didn't want to, go out into the world being so naive about it and so hush hush about it. So like I myself, I can discuss it right up front, because just because we're having that discussion doesn't mean that I'm going to then spread my legs and do all of these things that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind having the conversation up front. And, just to even give a little bit more insight, like, I went on a trip with a group of people before, and like I jumped in the pool, but excuse my French, but butt naked, you know, didn't really care. I didn't, like, my mind wasn't on sex or anything else. My mind was on, let me be me. Let me have all the fun that I want to have here. And this is exactly who I am. Like, I'm not ashamed of who I am, how I am. And so, like, it shocked everybody to see me in that manner, but it also opened their eyes to the fact that they all actually thought I was way more conservative and reserved than I actually am. What gave them that impression? I'm not sure. Maybe it's because I am celibate and have been for a couple of years, but that doesn't mean that I don't know how to communicate what my, desires are and what I want to happen. I can still say all those things without performing the act.
I want to say something right quick. Now, just from a male's perspective, can you imagine how confusing that would be to the guys there to see you jump in this pool around us butt naked, but then when they try to converse with you, you telling them that you're celibate?
I mean, but that, I don't know what else how is that confusing?
Just
I don't understand how.
male's perspective, because what type of person would some men think, right? Like, oh, wow, she got butt naked in front of us. She hopped in the pool, like, I mean, some men, because they probably have never had that experience in their lives. And the times that they did, it gave a different message. I was in a situation like that once in my life, and this was in 1997, hanging with my cousins. We went to a pool, and the girls got butt naked and hopped in. And when they got naked, my cousins jumped in and the girls started performing sexual acts on them in the pool that later went back to the hotel room. So for me, not to judge you or just make a terrible assumption, which obviously I would have been, but just based on my only experience in a situation like that, that would
Right.
send a message to me that, okay, she is looking or say giving a mating call. Like you don't get more blatant than getting butt naked around guys and hopping in the pool. But for you, it's just an expression of self.
Hey,
Right.
Koshon.
Go ahead,
So
Terry.
in my opinion, if I saw that, I would think to myself, oh, she a wild girl. She like to have fun. Yeah, I want to get to know her. So, if you're not trying to do that, you know, yeah,
Well, the thing is, I
that's,
do like to have fun, right?
well, you like
But I
to,
don't
you
have to
like to,
give of myself sexually to do so.
yeah, but like Koshan just said, you're giving off a whole different vibe. Like I said, if I saw that, I would have been thinking to myself, she's a fun girl. I want to go over there and talk to her. Let me see what's going to happen by the end of the night.
Terry, just be specific.
Yeah,
I'll linger for fun, Deborah say. That's the
right.
thing. You're thinking
Okay,
fun is right.
understandable from your point of view,
That,
understandable.
that's a
Whereas,
cleaner way of saying sex for some men is like, oh, we about to have some fun. But in
right,
your mind, you're thinking like real fun. Like we're fun. Girl, we were jumping in the pool naked. Like literal fun.
right.
Yeah, no, we're
Right.
talking about sexual fun. For Terry, let Trellis say something right quick. She typed her response. And for our listeners, Trellis, if you don't mind, would you please read what you typed for us? If, go ahead. You have the floor. I don't know if you're speaking, Trellis. Your mic is on, but we can't hear you. Or Deborah, if you can see what she wrote, would you please?
Yes, I can read it.
Yes.
So Trellis says, some women may not have a desire to reveal their full selves until they are completely comfortable with the person. Some may do this immediately. Others, it may take time. Sexuality for women and disclosing it is still considered a bit taboo in 2024.
And now from a male's perspective, do you all see how just hearing from three different women, right? We're getting, and so when we said men are from Mars is because women sent us there. So
I just feel like you shouldn't judge a book by its
we're
cover
not
because you never know what lies inside.
correct. And I agree. And we're not judging the book. I love that we have these different perspectives here because we're just helping you all understand what we're dealing with. What
Right, and how you guys think.
because now like Trellis, for example, Trellis is Southern raised. We were all, and it's ironic how we all like ran into one another again. We were all high school nerds, right? In the Beta Club, we went to Beta Club conventions. My cousin Cammie was like the secretary, national secretary. So we met a lot of people in high school and then we got to college and rekindled with a lot of them again at USC. And so we've been friends for years, right? But we've been friends in a certain capacity. So these are the quote unquote nerds. And again, when she talked about sexuality for women and disclosing it being considered a bit taboo, that's a completely different group of people. Terry is always open and he's like, hey, I'm open. I'm welcoming to it. Right. And I want to say to women, disclose who you are. If a man wants to be with you, he's going to be with you. Right. Especially mature men, because we understand that we all go through phases. You can say, hey, I used to do X, Y, Z. I was wild, blah, blah, blah. My question is, who are you now? Is that a phase that you lived through, that you've surpassed? But yeah, are you going through it or did you pass that? And if you've passed that, in my opinion, we talked about this as well, that is more inviting and attractive to be with what I call a retired hot girl. Let me know that you've lived your life and went through that, because if you haven't, I've seen women married for several years and have never experienced anyone outside of that person. And they get curious when they're with their girls, the homecoming trips, and they're hearing about different experiences and episodes. It sparks curiosity. And I don't want to be with a woman 10 years later and she decides she wants to have this freaky weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or the one night stand at this, education conference, right? Don't do that when you're with me. Get it out.
And especially don't do that. That's going to cost the man some time. When I'm saying time, I mean 18 years.
Right. Be open and honest about that part. Terry, I would like
Mm-hmm.
you to answer Deborah's original question. Deborah, please repeat that question, the original question for Terry.
Sure. So, Terry, it's been said that men immediately, like upon meeting a woman, will categorize her in one of three ways. The first being as a potential mate, the second being as a potential friend with benefits, and the third being as a sexual conquest. And I would like to know, is that true for you? And a sub question to that is, can a woman, if it is true for you, can a woman who is categorized a certain way jump categories or switch categories over time?
Woo. That's a fully loaded one right there, Coach.
Oh, yeah, I told you. Yeah, she has a good question.
Yeah. Well,
Me?
yeah. Well, for me, immediately, meeting a woman, I can't say I can categorize her. It depends on the man and what stage of life he's in. If a man's been divorced, first of all, let me say no, it's not true. All right. So everybody doesn't do that right away. If a man is just finished a relationship, going through a divorce, or just divorced, he wants to have fun now. So regardless of what he sees, he's going to be feeling, oh, it's a fun time now. So he's not going to be thinking to himself, well, that's my next wife or that's my next mate or, it's just a fun time to him. So no, you can't categorize that immediately. But after making initial contact and have a conversation over a period of time, then men generally categorize that particular woman. Okay, she might be my next mate, or she's a fun girl for the night, or that's a jump off. Something we can do once in a while, once every other weekend, or whenever I'm available, whenever she's available, or or she could just be, I don't know, a freak thing, a play thing, every once in a while. So no, men don't categorize that right away. So, but after conversation, if a woman, kind of based on what the woman may say, is sometimes men will categorize them in those different categories. So no, it's not all the time. It's not immediate.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I would like to address the second part that you said. Man, can women change those categories? I think that happens often where,
Yes.
you meet a person and it goes both ways because you could be attracted to an individual, but once you're around them, there are red flags, right? There are signs that we may not disclose initially, and you don't have to disclose your red flags because it will make people mask them. But once you're around them and you see certain things and it's like, oh, nah, this not going to work. You fool, we could be friends, although I thought this could have been more.
Right.
And in contrast, it could be a person that you just thought about, yo, this right here might just be a sexual encounter, right?
Right. Right.
But once you get to know that person beyond their sexual identity, they possess a lot of the qualities that you're looking for in
Yeah.
someone long term.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that occur. But what happens with that is you have to help the woman get beyond that initial anxiety because it's like she knows she's a freak. She views herself as a jump off, but she doesn't believe that you really like her. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, I don't care about your past. That has nothing to do with me, but I really like you because of X, Y, Z. Let's get out of the bedroom for a minute and let's analyze who you are as a person. And these are the things that I like and why I have no problem being with you.
Interesting. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But she also has to be comfortable with herself in
Yeah.
that
And
manner.
if that is what she wants as well, because like Terry said, depending
Yeah.
on where you are in life, she might not want something long term. She might not be looking to settle down. But a lot of times women possess the qualities. And like we say, you need to speak to men to find out what we want and what we're looking for, because something as simple as how you treat my kids, how you cook and how you make me feel like as a person, that's more of wife material in my eyes than your body, your income, your clothing. None of that stuff matters to me when you think about someone that you can be with and spend the rest of your life with. If you are you an encouraging person? How do I feel when I'm around you? I don't care about what we look like in public because none of that means anything. I don't care about the spending 2 hours getting your hair done, or 2 hours, 2 days getting your hair done, or all of the external features. Those are attractive, I guess, to some people, but it means absolutely nothing to me personally where I am. I can't speak for other men, but there are intrinsic character traits that are like factors that would determine if this is someone that I'm looking to be with long term, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, I threw the alley hoop and my boy caught it. Terry was right there to dunk it in.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you.
Okay, please, Trellis,
Trellis,
go ahead.
she said, how do you get to that point if you have already started having fun in quotation marks?
That doesn't change anything, Trellis. Because I'm not judgmental. If I met a young lady, right, hey, we've lived life, right? We've been open and honest here. We've been through college. We've been in situations. If I've had sex with a person the first time we met each other, that does not eliminate that person from someone that I can be with, right?
No.
That doesn't eliminate it. So we can get from the point of having fun if you possess the character traits that I look for with someone that I can be with on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're honest, if I met someone, hey, you were single, you weren't with someone, and we got down, okay, that's who you are as a single person. I'm going to be concerned with who you are in a relationship. And it actually is common, Trellis. Women don't think that is common. They think that men won't do that, but a lot of men will. Is just that women start off by thinking that, oh, he want this, he want that, so they lie about who they are. And I got a question again from Flo. She said, is that the older, mature version of your answer, Cole? It has always been that way because I prefer to know who you are. I've as a teenager, don't mask who you are, right? I don't come with these rules and
Keep it 100.
keep it 100. You see, and Terry and I've never discussed it. Don't come with these rules. Oh, we can't have sex for 3 months, or we have
30,
to talk
30, 60, 90 days.
36 that
Mm-hmm.
crap because you're being fake.
That's Steve Harvey crap.
That's more of
So
a
I have a
turnoff.
quick question.
That's a turnoff
Let
to
me,
me. Because you're being fake. You're masking who you are and what you want to do because of these created rules. So that tells me that you aren't honest with yourself. You aren't being true to who you are. So that's a turnoff.
But
so
I got to be honest with you, Koshon. That's go both ways. Cause if he's only looking for the sexual portion of it and, the woman gives it away, quickly, then he's done. He may be done. That's the little boy. That's the young man.
But that's what he
We
was
ain't
looking
talking about
for
a
from the
grown man.
beginning. That's what he was looking
That's
for.
what he was looking for from the beginning. Right. So if you didn't have those conversations, then, that's probably what you're going to run into. But at the same time, ladies, you got to think about this. I'm not telling you at no point, run your body count up. But, if if you have intercourse with the man and he stays, he's really interested in you. But if you do have intercourse with him and he runs away, then guess what? You didn't waste any time. You didn't waste the Steve Harvey 90-day rule. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't waste any time. You got rid of him real quick. Sometimes I always say, if that's what it cost me to get rid of you, then, it is what it is.
Oh, Terry, we have two questions. So Trellis, you prove a point. You said not possible for a woman to be all of this and still not seen as promiscuous, even by other women. And my point is, what other women think should not be important at all. That is another turnoff, a flag for older, mature men. Like when you're concerned about what other women think, that's an immediate red flag. Immediate. Like I don't want to have anything to do with a woman that, and I'm just being honest. When you're focused on what other women think, that's a red flag. So it's like,
They thinking about the other women, not what
you
the
focus
man
on other
actually
women instead
thinks.
of being who
So
you are. That's not important at all.
are you in a
You
relationship
definitely
with
said
those
that
women?
before too, Koshon. You definitely said that before.
That's 100% red flag. We could never be anything because you're worried about what other women think. And I remembered having this conversation with with my ex-wife once jokingly, right? Everybody that knows me personally, they know I love to eat. And she's an excellent cook. She makes Thanksgiving meals, Christmas, every holiday, whatever. So when she would post these meals, right? Terry and I are classmates. All of my friends that really know me, they would be like, "Oh man, she doesn't have to worry about you going anywhere." Or I see why you at the house every day. Or, because that is a major, major thing for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
When some of her girlfriends from college saw it, they made comments about her being domesticated, joked about calling her Aunt Jemima. And I noticed that she quit posting the meals. I continued, but she stopped. So I'm like, if this was enough for you and your husband, you just changed the dynamics of your entire marriage because you're worried about what some heifers think. And they probably wish they had a man to cook for. But women do a great job of masking misery and loneliness. They act like, oh, we love it out here, but they wish they had a man to cook for. So for me, anytime you're concerned about what other women think, that's an immediate X. Like we can't go anywhere with that.
Another one for you, Koshon.
Mm-hmm.
Women that listen to other women when they're in a relationship, when they eventually have those other women convince them to leave a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
those other women that convince them to leave,
They become best
most
friends with a
time
man. They're gonna be friends with a man.
they're gonna be friends with men on you.
Yep.
So, women that allow other women to come out of a relationship,
Be careful.
basically just
You
handing
hand your man over. Yeah. Yeah. We're telling you.
your man over.
Men don't typically disclose this because we don't want to cause lifetime problems, but there's so many women, your friends are going to be the first ones to go behind your back and tell your man everything about you and say how she didn't appreciate you and how they've always thought you were a nice guy and blah blah blah. And they tell you about the one night stand she had, about the guy she got with at homecoming, about the person. They tell you all of these things, your so-called friends. And we men know this. We don't reveal it at the time, but that is why we know that, hey, when you're hanging out with all these girls and being concerned about what they think and what they say, that's an immediate red flag. We like the independent women,
Mm-hmm.
do what you do because you set criteria for your life and who you are and why you do things, right? When you have that norm reference mindset, that's a red flag. It's like everything you do is based on what everyone else is doing. You're wearing a hairstyle because this is what this style is. This is in style right now. No, what do you like? What's the style to you? When you look in the mirror, what do you like? Not when you're out around other women. So that's just from a male's perspective. I'm telling you all, we're bringing this message to you all live from Mars, okay? And we're telling you what we think. Go ahead, Deborah.
I had a quick question, but this was when we were still like a little bit back. So, you guys were talking about how, confusing it is and how, women not being open about, you know, their, what they desire sexually or, what have you, the conversation of sex,
Mm-hmm.
how that can be confusing to you guys. and how you don't, how you guys are not like judging, right? So I was going to ask the question, like, so for the scenario I gave of being single on a trip, right, with other single people, jumping in the pool naked, would that stop you from getting to know who I was, like, just because I'm celibate in that
No,
moment,
that I
though I'm
would know.
having fun?
You
No,
wouldn't even notice you're
no,
celibate, but that sparks curiosity. Go ahead, Terry. You have the floor.
no. That wouldn't stop us from trying to get to know who you are. That individual incident, that would, I don't know, entice me to want to know more about you.
Right.
You know, I want to know what kind of fun girl you are. Are you a fun girl for the night? Are you a fun girl for the weekend or for the course of this vacation? Or are you that fun girl that really likes to have fun, like physical fun? You want to laugh, you want to smile. I want to know more about you. But in that incident, just seeing you jump in the pool naked, then that's like, okay, I want to talk to her. I want to see what she's about.
Right.
You know, jumping in the
Right,
pool naked in front of people. It's like, okay, shit, everybody having fun. That's her. But
And your
she seemed
body
like a real cool girl. Like her mind is open.
is open.
Like, I want to get to know more about her. So
Now,
yeah,
I
that
will
wouldn't
say
turn
this.
me away.
I will say this, that your physical appearance would also play a role in what you're communicating, right? Because if this is a bang supermodel body, right? It could be look like, okay, is she being arrogant? Is she body shaming the other women around her? Or,
well, this ain't no supermodel body.
no, I'm just
It
saying,
sure ain't.
not you personally, just saying what messages one can receive. Is she trying to spark? I'm going to look at the reaction and responses of others because, okay, is she trying to get the party started? Is this something that they typically do? Did I notice another woman took her top off or, follow suit? And if this is somebody that has a body that some women would try to mask, now I'm like, wow, she's really confident with who she is as a person. She's good in the skin that she's in. So there are different
Right.
factors.
And it did spark other people to hop in the pool, like take their clothes off and get in the pool. And it was like it, but nobody crossed the line with nobody else. Like it really just turned out to be a fun night, like where everybody just kind of let their guard down, a little bit and wasn't so uptight about partying.
Okay, okay. Um, intentions. And we don't know what a person's intentions are. So
Right.
again, this is why we say that communication is so important. And because messages are always mixed. The things that influence what we receive in messages are our method of communication and our life experiences. And we can agree that we were all raised in different houses, raised differently. So those things all vary, you know?
I'm enjoying myself today, ladies.
That they do. They all do vary.
Very good questions.
Yeah.
Yes, environment can play a part. When you raise a certain way and you think that this means something, you think that that means something. But one thing that I would ask for people in general is to get out of your way of thinking sometimes, right? Don't abandon your moral compass or your values, but understand that the way your parents raised you is just that. I've seen so many people criticize and have negative things to say about how others act and think because that's not the way you were raised in your house. But that's just your house, right? And who's to say that your parents are perfect? Because we're adults. We have things in our past that our kids don't know about, right? So I'm sure that even for the ones that were raised by these priests and pastors and perfect parents, they too have a path that they haven't told you about. And to think that the way I was raised is the right way or the only way to do things is something that I think that we have to unlearn.
There's no book written on this thing, Koshon.
Right. Right.
It definitely is not, because there's a lot of things that I do. I won't name it, but mom be like, "I did not raise you like that," and I'd be like, "Well, you raised me." You know what I'm saying? And I still do these things. So
I
just
tell my
know that you
son
did a
all the
good job, because I'm always going to be who I am.
I tell my son all the time, the game ain't changed, just the players.
Right. Things
So
haven't
the
gone.
so the things you thinking about you doing and you think you being slick about them, trust me, I've been there and I've done.
And I looked over something. I see where Nicole says, but not necessarily be Steve rule, but her rule. So again, any rule is a rule. It's not like you're suppressing something if you're sticking to a rule. We're not saying it's bad, but you're suppressing something. So ladies, I want to ask you all, how many of you have met a man and immediately pictured what it would be like to be with that man sexually? You didn't act on it, but just thought that you could be with him sexually as soon as you saw him.
I gotta hear this one.
Lady,
This is
I'll go first because I ain't ashamed. I definitely have because though I don't typically have a type, I do like to like climb trees. So when I see like a really tall man, like I don't know, I just always picture climbing that tree.
and that doesn't mean you have to act on it, right?
No, I mean clearly I don't,
But you're
but
suppressing what you wanted to.
yes,
You don't
my
want to.
imagination can take me places that I love, right? And I let that go.
Well, I want to hear from the other ladies, Nicole, Deborah, Deborah, Robin.
what was the question?
The question was, have you ever met a guy and envisioned yourself sleeping with that person like the first day, but your rule made you suppress or not do it? Like, I can't let him know I want to have sex with him.
No, I never envisioned sleeping with nobody the first day. My first day was trying to get to know who this guy is. That's just me.
Okay. Robin, Deborah, would like you all to chime in, please. You both are muted in case you didn't know. Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think I'm an artist and I do portraits and figure drawings. So I'm a very visual person anyway. I can undress anyone with my eyes and I really do enjoy energetic play as well. So I never feel any shame or anything about that. Now I also enjoy, yes, imagination, Deborah. I also enjoy being able to non-verbally communicate those thoughts. It's an art form, but I find that sometimes that can be more gratifying and satisfying than the actual act.
Mm,
And I agree, like, especially with me, like being celibate, like my imagination a lot of times is all that I have to play with, until I meet somebody that can bring it into reality. My imagination is what's always going to get me through, right? So yes, I'm imagining a lot of things.
right. Okay. Just asking. But Trellis, this is funny. Trellis is always one of the first thoughts after looking at his hands and shoes. So what is that? What message do you receive from his hands and shoes, Trellis? So if you have big hands and size 14 shoe, what does that tell you? And the others are saying very true, very true. And
Little.
It tells you that that's going to be a good tree to climb. That's what
No,
it says.
no, not necessary, Deborah. Nope.
Not necessarily you right. You right. Oh, you right.
Felicia said that thing is thinging. Oh, Robin said that does not always equate.
That's right, Robin.
Trellis said if he was working hands and type of shoes depends. Oh, okay. If he was working, hands and type of shoes depends.
So let me ask you this, ladies. These rules that you set, right? Does that make a difference? Like, have you noticed, okay, I said we're not going to have sex for 30 days, 90 days. Does that change who that man is as a person? Or is it like, what are you looking for in these rules? Does it show that he's willing to commit? Or because a lot of times if the guy is waiting 90 days, do you communicate your rule to him? Do you tell him that, okay, no, I won't do this? Or is this just something in your mind that, okay, after the third month, we can have sex or we can do whatever it is? It doesn't even have to be sex. It could be him coming to my home, him meeting my kids or whatever in these rules.
Okay, I was waiting to jump in.
Go ahead, Robin.
So for me, because I've always wanted something more serious,
Mm-hmm.
found that the rule sort of forces out the guys that are only looking for sex and forces them to take the time to get to know me. But it doesn't necessarily rule out, that it doesn't change what they have intended to do, because some guys will actually just stick around until they get what they want.
Right. Because a guy can wait 90 days. He could be having sex with somebody else in those 90 days.
Right, that part. But I was just going to say, in reference to what you were saying, ladies, just express what it is you want right at the beginning, but not every guy is as open-minded as the guys on this panel. And
I get that. I accept that.
yeah, and so what I found is, if, you know, if you present everything that you're after in the beginning, whether it's, only sex or whether it's you want a relationship, depending on who you're dealing with, that could go bad both ways.
What would be the okay, tell me a bad outcome with you if you told a guy that, hey, I'm looking for a long term, where I am, I'm looking for a long term relationship. I'm looking for somebody I can be intimate with, affectionate with, but long term, right? Do you think that would steer someone away, or?
It does. And most guys don't, that's not what they're looking for. Or, it may happen over time, is what I hear often, but they don't want to hear that when they're just getting to know you, just getting to.
But like Terry said, isn't that a benefit because you've kind of weaned him away and not wasted your time? Because if that is not what he wanted, that's not what he wanted.
That's how I choose to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I hope it is, that I've run off the riffraff in doing so.
Right.
I don't think by me withholding myself is like not being true to myself, because, like the other young lady said, I know that I'm a very sensual person, a passionate person, but I'm not trying to share that with everyone. So generally, I like to let people know up front what it is that I'm looking for. But I do find that it can be a turnoff even to somebody who kind of wants to just take their time and get to know you. It just seems, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. And it's confusing for me the way you might feel that it's confusing for a young lady to implement this rule and not share what it is they're looking for up front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Koshon.
And I'll cut in to answer the question. Flo, you know what, Flo? Go ahead, because you was about to speak when Robin was about to speak. So I'll wait till after you.
No problem. Hey, everybody. Koshon, I want to kind of double and triple on all of the answers I had.
And I'm sure you have notes. You wrote it down.
Well, one, the question about if we visualize, having sex with the person that we see immediately, absolutely. And I think most women would be a little more free if they just admit that to themselves. Sometimes women are afraid to think like that because they may get labeled a certain way. And of course, you knew how I grew up. You know my mama and my daddy, but you also know I got all these brothers. So while my parents gave me this one foundation, a lot of that foundation was molded by what I saw in my brothers.
Correct.
So I kind of had that, as my guide, as my spirit guide per se, to, view people. The other thing is being so upfront with somebody, like, hey, I just met you, I'm looking for marriage. Because of the way we were raised, like, you go and run somebody off. Even though that is the truth, yes, I do want to get married, but I just feel like there's a time and a place to drop that information, and not necessarily like the first week or the first day or the first date. It's like, okay, I don't even know what your favorite color is, but you want to get married. Like, it could just be taken the wrong way. There was something else that y'all said.
About the rules. He said, he asked the question about, like, how does the rules that you said, he said, Koshan, repeat that.
Yeah.
How's it
So
worked out? Like when you say, okay, I'm waiting 90 days before sex or 30 days before kiss and all that.
I think for me, I used to try to convince myself of that only because I didn't want to be seen a certain way. I didn't want to be seen as the loose girl or the girl who just want to have sex. I wanted that person to view me as somebody with value. And so I thought me setting, because really the boundaries was for me, because I was ready to jump on them on day one. But the way that person viewed me, I didn't want them to think ill of me, because I wanted to be that girl, that grew up in a nice family, went to church and all of that. And here I come out the gate talking about, all these things that I want to do on day one. I always felt like that guy, yeah, he would have fun with me, but he would never take seriously to be in a serious relationship.
But now you realize that some men prefer that, and that does not turn us away. It's like a part of getting to know a person.
I let a lot of good men go.
Yeah, because it's like you were deceitful the whole time. You're being deceptive, like masking who you really are because of some rule. And then if you're going to lie about that, what else are you lying about? So you're creating anxiety in that man the entire time because you just weren't true to yourself. So how can you be true to me?
I received that. At that time, I didn't look at it as a deceit. It was more so like, hey, you around these people, don't you embarrass me, kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
It's just what was instilled in you at that time for a way for you to move. Yeah, it's understandable. For me, well, as far as like meeting my child, you don't get to do that until I know that we're locked in, like that we're gonna be solid. That's just off top. Like that's not even an option. I don't even really bring my child up in conversation too much other than to let you know I have one. And that's about it. Outside of that, like he doesn't come into play until I know that we're going to be serious in some way, shape, form, or fashion. As far as, my celibacy and that being a rule, that's more personal. It's not a rule that I have for anyone else more than myself. It's part of my discipline. It's part of me knowing that when I do, like, put myself back out there like that, I'm way better at discerning and, listening to my intuition and things like that. It's if I feel like it, I'll let that go on the first date. I'll let it go 2 weeks in, 3 months in. It doesn't matter to me when I let it go. It just matters to me the discipline that I hold within myself more than anything. So I don't really put set rules. I just kind of go with where I'm at in that moment, what I want in that moment, and what I'm trying to do. But I let it be known exactly where I'm at, what I want, and what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Okay, this is Nicole. I'm going to piggyback on what I said. I said it's not a Steve rule. It's my rule. And it's not something that I would communicate with the opposite person. It's pretty much more of discipline. I don't feel like I would ever know a person in one night to sleep with them. Probably not even their correct name. So there's no thought in my mind that we gonna have sex. Cause I don't know you. You don't know me. Even if it's 30 days and I feel like you know me and I know you, if I'm not, if my mental thought is not there, it just ain't happening. And that's only Nicole.
That's an interesting perspective. And I say this because for a lot of men, sex itself is not synonymous with love, right? Or to say, okay, we're here because just things that guys joke about. One of the things we in a group of guys were laughing about, what's the longest you've had sex with a woman and not know her middle name? And some guys like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they still don't know anything about the person because it was just that. It was just sex. And not that the middle name was a determining factor. That was just one of the things we talked about. So there are a lot of times that I can see where women feel like
food catering.
right, where you do certain things and you would like to have some, like a key to say, okay, if he does this, then that means that, right? But instead of trying to make assumptions or come up with these things that say, okay, this tells me this or this tells me that, as men, we want you to just ask, because some men know how to communicate and some men aren't afraid to openly communicate. We have others join in. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome, Shannon. How are you all? And if you have some follow-up questions, please type them in and we can have them read aloud. because although we're interacting here, we have live listeners that cannot see the questions that are being typed or see what you all are typing. So I try to repeat it for everyone. But Deborah, I'm sure you have some other intriguing, thoughtful questions for us or something that you would like to add. If so, please join us. And Flo, you all told us that she'll be back. She's actually driving right now and we get some other calls, so she'll be joining us. Discretion is always necessary. There are spiritual implications to the tryst. Please elaborate, Deborah, on what you just typed.
Sorry, it took me a moment to unmute myself.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there are always spiritual implications to any connection. I have had experiences where, without even being physically intimate with someone, I have been able to connect to their emotional bodies and even to their past partners. Once I was with a man with whom I'd not been physically intimate, and I had a vision in which I saw his ex-wife, and I described that person to him without having ever seen a picture, and it was her. So, I mean, there are different levels of connectedness for different people, but I'm always thinking about discretion where connections are concerned. And, the elders talk about soul ties all the time. That's a real thing. It gets steeped in purity culture and religion a lot of times. But I think if we remove all the stuff, all the fluff, we can observe that this is real. So once you're connected to someone, that's it becomes a thing. It becomes a part of you. They become a part of you. But that was really my only question, the one that I posed earlier. And I asked that question because I've been thinking and observing a lot of my friends. I'm 38, and I think that women within this age range tend to feel this sense of urgency. I got to get married, got to start a family, got to do this, got to do that. And I'm seeing in my region a lot of frustration amongst women who are saying that men are not leading with their intentions. And when I speak to male friends of mine, without fail, they all say, I knew within 5 minutes of meeting her what it was going to be. And then I wonder, well, why did you continue dating or engaging knowing that she wanted marriage or a commitment when in fact for you it was only a sexual conquest? I think it's okay to say that. I think there's a level of integrity that comes into play too when it comes to continuing a connection with someone with whom they're not going to jump categories. So I think it all comes down to intention and being able to own your intentions.
I think that some men enjoy the benefits of.
Mm-hmm.
Some men enjoy the benefits of what goes on in that phase, and unfortunately, you're stuck with dealing with a person that's immature, or they might have a low level of emotional intelligence. And again, everyone is not able to effectively communicate, and we get stuck on this. I don't even want to say they fall under the rules, but just like Trellis spoke about earlier, worrying about how things look to one another. Once we get beyond that, I think that we can openly communicate and say how we feel, say what our intentions are. And sometimes when we say men don't lead with intentions, I think that sometimes they may not have any intentions at all. And that is absolutely possible. It's like, hey, I'm just meeting someone. I have no intentions. Like, I'm literally down for whatever. If you're looking to be intimate, I'm cool with that. If you're looking for a relationship, we can work towards that, but I have no immediate intentions.
Mm-hmm. Which to me is an intention in and of itself. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, just to like, hey, I'm just here to chill. That could
Right. That's my intention.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but not one of the three categories. So we would have to go beyond that. But out of the three, the intentions may not lie within that framework. So again, and Shannon was saying that is an intention. So Shannon said men do not lead with intention. Shannon, are you out here generalizing men, Shannon? All right. And Deborah, please read your question to us.
Okay, my cousin actually just sent me a question. She said, What makes a man choose a woman who does not challenge him versus one who does?
We need a little more detail on that. Challenge in what way?
Like, I guess I can text her and ask, but I'm assuming like to
Because this goes back.
like be better, be the best version of
Right.
himself, be, you know what I'm saying? Someone who you like, you might come in contact with, and you know, you see that being around her, the potential, you have the potential to, or you know,
So
you may need to elevate a little bit in order to be on her level.
this is what I've noticed, Deborah. When women say they're challenging a man and bringing this out of the man and doing this for the man, doing that for the man, let's have an honest reflection and ask ourselves who's benefiting from their intentions. Are you benefiting, or is he benefiting? Who's going to benefit from this quote unquote growth that you're trying to see? And when you're challenging this man to do certain things, is it beneficial to him in his eyes, not your eyes? Does he see the benefits of what you're trying to do? If not, men could look at this as you're trying to change me, as you're trying to, what are you trying to gain from this? And it's not like, remember we talked about women getting upset saying, well, oh, a man chooses to date down because he's intimidated by, or he, and like in this case, chooses a woman who does not challenge him versus one who does, because the woman that is not challenging him, that is not always a negative thing. Remember, you all have your boxes that needs to be checked, right? Out of her 10, the person that he is
Right.
right now may have checked all 10 of those boxes for her. And she's happy with who he is as a person. This could be what she has been looking for. And go ahead, Terry. I saw your mic come on.
My
Talk.
yeah, my question is, she said about challenging a man. What kind of a challenge are we talking about? Are we talking about challenging a man to become a better man? Or are you saying, you know, the man comes up with a decision and says, hey, we're going to do this, and you challenge him and tell him, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something else. So I want some clarity of
Right.
the definition of challenge.
Yeah.
So I just reached out and she did send back just what you said, Terry, about challenging him to be just a better man. She said, even not even if I have to specifically say anything, but just him being around me in my presence, seeing how I move, makes him realize like I might need to step my game up in order to really deal with this female, right? So that's a challenge for him to kind of, you know, upgrade to that level, or would he choose to, I guess, stay with someone who, or get with someone who he doesn't have to really elevate for, though he sees that, I mean, it could be a positive for him as well, right? If we're being honest, it could be a positive for her. It could be a positive for him. But if she's not specifically asking him to challenge himself, but he sees that what she has going on would mean that for him to really deal with her, he might have to challenge himself a little bit to become a better version of himself, you know?
Well, but better is very relative, and better is based on her view of better and her experiences, right? So again, communication. Let's communicate it. And I challenge a lot of women when they think about what they want, right? Imagine, let's just follow me for a minute. Ladies, you're abducted. You and your man, right? You some aliens pick y'all up and take y'all off to a different planet. Nothing but Martians there. You and your man. You're safe. You're 100% safe, but you're there, right? With no other humans around. What are some things that you want out of your man? What are some character traits? What type of man, if you're going to be abducted, you go away for 5 years with this man, but you come back with $1 billion for 5 years with this man. What are some things that you want this man to have? What are some character traits that you will want this man to have in isolation with you? Or you could just be off at an island with all of the resources you need, you know, your food and anything related to health, you're going to be okay. But what are some traits that you want this man to have with just the two of you in isolation? And this is rhetorical. I'm not looking for an actual answer. I posed the question this way because I think that I've seen in a lot of instances that women's expectations of men are not criteria reference. It's not based on them. It's based on what they see in other relationships and other women. And you're only seeing the surface of. So when they say, oh, girl, my man did X, Y, Z, right? Women lie to themselves a lot, and they also lie to each other. When they're telling you the things that the man did, they don't tell you that they took their whole tax return and paid his child support for him. They don't tell you that he's not even working. So yeah, he had the house cleaned and dinner cooked and blah, blah, blah. There's some things that they're leaving out. So now when they see that surface part, they're bringing it at their man as some of the things to make him better. So when you talk about 5-year plans with individuals, things that you want to accomplish, things that you want to avoid, or do you have a set criteria of what you want and where do you see this guy? Because once it's influenced by others, this man will never ever be able to satisfy you. And then it becomes a continuous growth for him because you're always influenced by what you're seeing and what you want and what you think a man should have or do based on others. And the man would never be able to satisfy you. And Nicole asked protection, insurance, liability, etc. Okay, Deborah, and the scenario sounds like fun and take some time. And I would like for you all to do that, to just take a minute and think about you and a man in isolation, not being compared to others, not doing this because your friend's husband did this or your girlfriend did this or your sister's boyfriend did that, just based off of what you want. You sit down and think about these things. Trellis, I notice your mic is on. If you have something to say, please chime in. And welcome, Shannon. Say hello to everyone. Introduce yourself, please, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'm in the car. Hello. How are y'all?
Oh, hello.
Hey, Shannon.
Can y'all hear me? Shannon, yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay. Sorry, I'm in the car. I'm trying to park. I apologize.
No, take your time. This is a Driving 5 podcast. We're here to help everyone get through their rush hour traffic on Fridays and whatever else you have going on. We're enjoying you.
How are you?
Okay, Felicia says, I need for him to realize that we are equal and there should be no gender roles. No gender roles at all, Felicia. Please elaborate, like no gender roles. So, that's cool. And if that is what you want and what you prefer, as long as that is communicated, I think that is a great thing. But Deborah, back to your question, what makes a man choose a woman who does not challenge him versus one who does? And I think that we need specifics about this challenging part. This was on one of our episodes way back, but it was described as dating down. And remember what we said. And
Yeah.
that person's mind that posed the question, she has a particular value that what she's viewing herself. But it looks like
Right.
she's created this nominal category or measure of herself being above the woman that does not challenge this man. And again, she may have other goals, right? And whatever those goals are based on, it's like, I had a friend that got divorced. She said he didn't want to grow, right? You marry a guy that worked at a warehouse. He was a warehouse worker. She was an educator. She had several degrees and he didn't. And she wanted him to go back to school. This guy was in his early 40s. He had worked for 20 plus years. His eyes on retirement and putting his kids through college. She felt like he didn't want to grow and get to her level, but you're on different paths. So where you are on your level, he may have surpassed you in his field. He may even be on a higher level, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
he could be at the top of his company when you're an educator, but you still have 4 or 5 people above you in the chain of command, right? But because you viewed your degrees as better or higher than him, you're challenging and saying, oh, he didn't want to grow X, Y, Z. So those are some things that I think we need to we need to analyze. We need to take a look at.
Well, I'll send her that old episode so she can take a listen. Take a listen, because that'll probably be the best.
Yeah. We have one of our other panelists coming in. Hook, welcome,
Because
Hook.
that'll give her some contact.
Yes. And this is my guy, Hook. When you all, I would like for you to join him. He also has a podcast as well. And we had a great question that we started the show with that's taken us to like an entire hour and a half, Hook. We would definitely love your feedback. We have a new guest. Well, today, two new guests, Shannon and Deborah. And Deborah asks, Deborah, please, if you don't mind reading your question again. You have this made for TV voice. So if you're available, Deborah, please read your original question for Hook so we can get some insight or feedback from him. And Shannon, if you would like to bring some follow-up questions or ask for clarity, please feel free to do so. And I don't know if Deborah may have stepped away. Well, Hook, her question was, it's been said that men immediately categorize women upon meeting them in one of three ways. One, a potential mate. Two, a friend with benefits. Or three, a sexual conquest. Is this true for you?
Absolutely not. I know, well, I can only speak for me personally, but like, honestly, when I meet a woman, I may see that she's attractive. I may admire her, I guess, physical qualities, but I don't always immediately just jump to, I wonder what it's like to sleep with her, or I want to make her my old lady, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always that thought. Like, now, have there been women I thought about in that way? Absolutely. But it's not, even if I find a woman attractive, I don't necessarily, that's not immediately my first thought. I'm a communicator. I believe in energy, and when meeting somebody for the first time, interested in getting to know them. But, whether or not it goes beyond that, whether it's just we talk for that moment or we exchange numbers, it really all depends. But, we don't, I want women to understand that men don't, all of us don't think alike. So one of the worst things that women can do is just automatically assume that this is how men are because that's in their nature. That's not necessarily true. But no, I don't. I think that's completely false.
And the second part of her question was, can women navigate within those three categories? And they go from the person you want to smash or to someone that you can be with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there have been women I've slept with on the first night who I ended up in long-term relationships with. So it's not one of these things where it's like a deal breaker if you sleep with somebody too soon, or
Say that one more time.
it's not a deal breaker if you sleep with somebody too soon, or if
Does it
things
sound
don't.
familiar, Koshon?
This stuff on live. You're coming in live from Mars.
So what? I mean, did the women think that was necessarily a deal breaker, or what?
Yes. And unfortunately, Trellis called and she had to step away. So we told them that this whole persona that they're creating, right? This persona that they're creating is unnecessary.
Nah. I mean, the only way that would be a deal breaker is if I know that that's your MO with like every guy you meet. But, if it's like been 10 guys and you slept with them all and I know about it, that may be, I may not.
Right. There may be other factors.
Yeah. But I mean, if I don't know anything about you and, we hit it off and we sleep together on the first night. I mean, especially if it's good, I'm probably going to be calling you the next day, seeing where you want to go for brunch. So. Yeah, so but it's not. I believe in, and maybe it's. I can't even necessarily say maturity because I've always been this way. I don't look at a woman as loose or fast or hoish just because she sleeps with somebody who some people deem too soon. I mean, sometimes it's about chemistry, and sometimes you just are automatically attracted to somebody, and it happens. But it's not a deal breaker. So, please, if that's what you ladies think, please get that thought out your head.
Oh, precious lady. And again, Hook is from Mars as well, but he's from the other side of Mars.
Say more. What's the other side of Mars?
He's on the side of Mars where they dress in black and gold.
Oh,
Rick has agreed with the women
got
on
it.
Rick has agreed with the women's side of you on a couple of occasions too.
Yeah, I'm on the
So
side of Mars where we dress in purple and gold, but hey, we all from Mars.
yeah.
But again, just, like we said, there's nothing restricting you from navigating to different parts. And okay, Shannon says, in my experience, it has been. Again, it comes down to what that person's intentions were. If you possess the character traits that men look for in a long-term relationship with someone that they can be with, then it does not matter. You got out of the seat, Shannon. I don't know what happened, but we're going to bring you back in. So please elaborate, Shannon, or say what you were typing, please.
I was just going to say, in my experience, that has not been the case, that men don't form some sort of opinion if you sleep with them too fast. So you guys are an anomaly, because that has not been the experience for myself or for a lot of the women that I know.
Koshon, let me step in for a minute. Let me say something. My way back when, several years ago, when I met my wife, we exchanged phone numbers, we had conversations. However, it didn't take that long. All right. I'm not saying it was 90 days or 120 days, but it didn't take that long, before we actually became intimate. But when we did, we actually kind of separated for a minute, and then we made our way back together. And then when we did, her response to me was, I think I slept with you too early. My response to her was, you didn't sleep with me enough. It wasn't too early. You didn't sleep with me enough. So, that response where, men run away from women after having, intercourse early, having sex early. That's not all men, but some men, there are some men out here that are just in for the chase. You know, they want,
Yeah.
it's a conquest for some men. So
I think
I,
some of that is
I,
in the woman's mind too.
right. So
More or less.
I can't tell any woman, like I said before, I don't want you to rack up a body count either, but, cause men don't like that as
Well, then
well.
that's the issue, right? When we meet you,
But
I'm supposed to be very free and free with my sexuality and
No,
free.
just want you to be you. If you're free,
right,
then, that's you. Just be you.
right, because Shannon, like,
That's right.
Part of me being me is choosing to deal with you in a certain way. Whether I say I'm going to sleep with you quickly or I'm not going to sleep with you quickly, I'm going to wait. All of that is me being me, making that
Right.
decision for myself.
Right.
However, I have personally had this happen over my life where you make that decision with a man and it was game. It was for a sport. So that makes any woman be a little bit more cautious.
But if you
It's
waited
not
too
that she's,
far, that would not have changed the sport. If that was his intention and you made him wait 6 months, that still would not have changed who he was or what he was saying. So, and I get what you're saying. You don't want to continue to give yourself away as a waste of time, but you have some men like myself. I don't care.
where's your mind?
Yeah, for me,
Where's your
I don't
mind at
care
in that
about
moment?
body counts. 2 or 200. Yeah, I'm concerned with who you are as a person, like who you are as an individual. How do I feel when I'm with you? How do you make me feel as a person? Those are the most important factors. And that's just to me. I'm not saying that all men feel the way that I feel. And I know that life happens, and a lot of times with women, unfortunately, you're lied to. Guys lie and say XYZ. It doesn't work out. You owe it to yourself to move on. That doesn't make you a bad person, right?
they do, because some men be in the game for the long haul. It could be a year later. And the whole year has been situational. Me getting you to a point where you let me do whatever.
Well, what has he shown you in that year that he's interested in you? Like, has he?
Yeah, I'm saying it's been both. I
It's
have
been both.
experienced both, where it has been like it would be a normal relationship and it is a good guy. And I have been where it has been a complete asshole from the get go. You already know what's up.
Right.
So it's almost like it's so confusing. right? Because y'all are saying there's all these exceptions to the rule, but that is not what's appearing outside.
Y'all need to invite them guys here with us.
But if I can say something really quickly,
Yes, please.
I think I look at it more of it should be a personal thing, and it shouldn't matter like what he thinks, what his intention. Like if you want to sleep with him on the first night, sleep with him on the first night. But get it
Oh,
through your mind and make sure you understand that if it doesn't go past this or whatever, you got to be okay with whatever happens after you choose to do this, because everything is a choice. You can make the choice to sleep with him. He can make the choice to not want to move forward afterwards. And
definitely.
if
But it's
you,
always going back to also the body count issue. Yeah, I can do that. I can be as free and as happy go lucky as I want to with my body whenever I feel like. If I meet you and I just want to sleep with you the first night, I can do whatever I want.
Yes.
But
right.
then on the other side, as you meet men that say, oh, well, I don't want your body count, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, yours on steroids.
Okay, like, are you ashamed? Like, my thing is, I'm not going to ever do anything that I can't say I did, right? So I'm probably not going to allow my body count to get out of control, but I can't say that it might not be, to someone else's expectations or whatever out of control, right? But as long as I'm okay with where my body count is, if he don't like it, then baby, you just don't like it. And that means it just ain't for you. It ain't got to be a discussion. It ain't got to be a debate. It really, when you just allow people to show you exactly who they are, what they want, whatever, and you're able to accept it, it is what it is.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm not speaking from a woman who can't accept the outcome of whatever relationship. I'm just talking from the standpoint of men do not lead with their intentions most of the time.
True.
Men do not say even when they don't have any intentions most of the time. That is just not reality for most women. That's all I'm saying.
Right. And again, I always say, we're talking to a select few men on a podcast versus the whole of what we experience as women on a regular daily basis.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But I just want to let y'all know we're not generalizing, but most of y'all don't do that. But we appreciate your brothers who do.
Okay, Deborah
Right.
asked, ladies, do we ask men their body count as well? And is it about the bodies or is it about vastness of experience and the threat or discomfort that entails?
I want to answer
For me,
that.
it's about the safety.
It's safe
Okay.
because
It's about the safety. I need to know that you were safe in your body.
a man
The
body
body
count is different from a woman body count.
A body count don't make you safe because it only take one time.
Right.
It only take one time for everything to go wrong.
Right.
Yeah. So body count.
Yeah, body count don't even matter.
No, I'm 46 years old and most men in my age range or older, I mean, you can pretty much be sure that they've had a plethora of women.
And I'm 47, and I
Yeah. I ain't thinking I'm finna run out here and meet no virgins.
may have had 100, but he's safe.
If safety is taken care of and covered, I don't know. I mean, unless you in the thousands or like the high hundreds, which is
But
unnormal,
who really gonna
I don't
tell you
really care
that?
about your body count. I don't.
Cause who gonna be
Can
honest?
you
Yeah,
please me is what I'm worried about. Am I going to be the one that you can please?
Right.
Oh, really out here like asking people their body count though?
Yeah,
nah.
do people do? There's some people
Some
who
men
do.
do. Yeah.
Some,
I've had men ask me that.
Men, if you're
yeah.
listening, it's a waste of time to ask. Women are going to lie. Women are going to tell you the last time they had sex was the 6
Don't
months.
be generalizing.
Oh,
Don't be
Sean,
generalizing.
I'm tripping. Women are going to,
Generalizing, Koshon.
He ain't tripping.
hey, women are going to say it's been 6 months or
don't
2 years. And when you
stop.
ask them the last time they had sex with
Oh,
somebody,
Sean, you are not a woman. Do not do
no,
what a woman
I'm a
will
man. Same what women tell us. Women tell us the last time they had sex been 6 months or 2 years. That's the two common
No.
lies they
The women you asked told you that. Let's
correct.
be clear.
Correct. And they're going to say it's been 6 months, it's been 2 years. Some are honest.
So you calling me a liar, Koshon?
No.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is calling me a liar in this moment.
Don't even waste your time asking because it's not important. You know, it doesn't even matter because she could have been with somebody last night, last week. it doesn't make a difference if she's giving you her attention. Now, our man Tank is here. One of our hosts, Tank. You want to speak? Say what's up to the people. Tank, he just woke up. My bad. He was late coming in.
I will say this, that's never anything I would lie about, because at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with my body count, nor do I have a problem saying how long it's been since I was, intimate with someone in that manner. It's at the end of the day, if I'm gonna be honest about everything else, I might as well be honest about that.
Right, right. And honesty is important. That is what I was getting at earlier. Okay, Tank, he does not ask because he does not want to be asked.
I respect that,
Right.
Tank. I respect that.
Yeah, I don't ask. It's not important to me. And we're talking, and something comes up like, okay, hey, you dealt with one of my homeboys, somebody that I know. You didn't know that we
Don't
knew
be
each other.
asking me about that either.
Yeah, it could have been. Hey, Melody, what's going on? Melody joined the room. Welcome, 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 Mel. It is it's irrelevant to me for various reasons. But yeah, that's not, and that person, whoever you built in the past, they're not me. So it's going to be a different experience, just dealing with me. So that's not important. And like Tank said,
That's why I said, can you please me in this moment? Because that's really all that matters. Your body count don't matter.
there's who in your account, right? That's what someone said, that the body count itself does not matter to me as much as who in your account, because if you only had that one person is enough. Hey, Melody. Okay, Shannon. Buddy, how you doing, Mel? We're trying to get a seat in for you, Mel, because I know Mel has a lot to say about this and what we were talking about for Shannon and Mel and our listeners that joined in later. Deborah, she gave us a really thought-provoking question about the categorizing men initially, and I wanted to ask the ladies about these rules, right? And as men, we respect you being an open, honest person. And like the rules are like, hey, you're suppressing who you are and what you want to do because you feel I can't sleep with him. But shed some light as to why these rules are in place. And just based off personal experiences that, I guess if you sleep with a guy too soon, he gets a certain impression, but it could be based on something other than sex, you know, and that is why communication is so important in knowing what type of person you like, what you're looking for in someone that you can see yourself being with long term. And our body count, Chris, and I'm just reading through questions, and we get questions in. I apologize. On our website, we have the episode listed for playback. Listeners are allowed to become a subscriber, and they send questions in. Man, oh, that's a good question, guys. For the fellas, what are some signs that shows you love the person? What are some things that you do that shows you love the person? Don't all answer at once. Hook, Unique, Tank, what are some signs for women that shows that you love a person? Because they're following up when I said that sex is not synonymous with love. You can have sex with a person for 5 or 10 years and not even know their middle name.
It's kind of hard to answer that because every woman's different. So,
For
what I
you,
may show one, yeah,
some
yeah.
actions that you think would be symbolic
Of,
of your
for
love.
me,
Yes.
for me personally, for me, it would be more so communicating that to them. And because just reassuring them that, how I feel about them, but not only that, but I guess following action with that reassurance, making them secure in the relationship, doing things to the point where they understand that it's me and them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more so really just taking, I guess, more so putting action behind the words. Just 'cause I think one of the biggest things is women. Well, I'm not going to say all women, but a lot of women, they really just want to feel secure in their relationship. They want to feel that, there's nobody else, other than them. And I think most importantly, they don't want to look stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to be with somebody who all on social media, professing their love to them, but up in everybody else's inbox. So I think it's more so doing whatever it takes and to show them that you're real about the relationship. But I mean, that's really going to be communicating, because whatever is going to take, I'll need to communicate with her, and I'll need her to tell me what it's going to take for her to feel secure in a relationship. I need to find out what she needs. So I think the best way to do that is just communicate with her.
Like that.
Okay. Unique, you have the floor. Terry?
What was the question? I didn't hear the question. I just want to hear the question.
Question was, for men, in their eyes, what is symbolic of their love? Because when I talked about sex not being synonymous with love, the person asked for the men to say what is symbolic of their love. How would a woman know, okay, these are signs of my love to you. If I'm doing such and such, okay, that means that I love you, or I'm showing that I love you.
Yeah, with me, like I'm more of a doer versus saying I love you. I do things that they appreciate without them having that. If I pay attention to things they like, or things they like doing, and I incorporate those things in my life as well. 'Cause, like I'm a I like I like cooking. I like arts and crafts, so I probably make them something special, something unique. It's a on one. So that's me. I'm a doer more than saying I love you. But I'm gonna say I love you eventually. But I'm more of a doer. So I'm gonna give you all those signs to show you that's me.
Give an example.
Um, shoot. Oh, I'm probably the old fashioned technical things like flowers, taking you to dinner, just small things, but it's things that they appreciate.
Well, would you buy flowers for a woman that you don't love, that you're just trying to get have some fun with?
I can't say that I have. Can't say that I have.
So if
So I don't like giving that false.
flowers for you, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you that false sense of hope, like, oh, this guy loves me, he's gonna build me. Like you said, sex is anonymous. Because we having sex, that don't mean I love you, or that don't mean I want to be with you. We're just enjoying the moment.
Well, for me, I would think that sacrificing what's important to me is a demonstration of my love. And what's important to me are my kids and family. So if I am taking you around my family and around my children, that means a lot to me. So that is one sign. My time is valuable, and when I'm comfortable with being the person I am, those are things that shows my love. And of course, like I said, if I'm doing, making sacrifices for myself to make your life easier, that's symbolic of my love, because men can say, hey, I love you. I was the teenage guy that had multiple girlfriends and told everybody I love you. So saying it meant nothing. Sitting on the telephone and listening to Keith Sweat and Jodeci, doing things that women felt like I was a person that would ask and see what women thought was symbolic of love, and I could easily do those things, but that did not mean that I love it.
And you're right. Saying is the easy part. Anybody can say it, but showing is totally different.
And of course, ladies, men differ in various ways. So, Hook gave his example, Tank gave his example. Terry, what do you have to say? What is symbolic of love for you? Definitely.
Acts of kindness, physical touch.
Be specific.
Be more specific than acts of kindness.
Like
I
in
like,
what way?
I like food. I like my women cook. I'm on the phone, baby.
No, what's symbolic of you? What's symbolic? What do you do to show your love?
Oh, I didn't get a text, baby. Of course, financial support. I cook, I clean, and I try to take pressure off of her as well.
Hey man, y'all see Deborah's question?
What is your question, Deborah?
Deborah said, are the men on this panel monogamous?
Deborah, okay.
Oh yeah, that's Deborah Tank.
Let me call it.
Deborah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What would you like to ask Deborah?
I was asking whether the men on the panel were monogamous, because I'm familiar with polygamous situations, and I think that when it comes to expressing love in that situation, it can change. It changes, like actions really do matter. So I was just wondering what perspective y'all are coming from.
That's interesting.
Um,
Guys.
I kind of love the polygyny mindset myself. And everyone doesn't subscribe to that lifestyle. I'm
What you love
single.
about it? You say you love it, Tank?
Yeah. The mindset of it, yeah, I'm single. So feel like you love who you want to love, be with who you want to be with, respectfully.
But can you be okay with the other women that you are dealing with also being open and free in that manner with other people while you're open and free with them in that manner?
In some aspects, yeah. If, yeah,
Uh-uh. Yeah, in polygamy, it can't be in some aspects. It got to be there or it's not.
I'm used to being boyfriend-in-law, husband-in-law, having going to put it. So I'm cool with it. Yeah.
Well, polygamy, not to be mistaken with polyamory, they're different.
But, hmm
True.
I feel like as long as I know about it, don't sit there and try to be a secret about it. Let me know and let me decide whether or not I want to subscribe to that. To be honest, I'm from, hey, I got somebody else. So, okay, all right, cool. We adults. We be adults about it. Okay, cool.
Anyone else?
I'm,
Yeah, well, I'm married and black men don't cheat, so yeah, I'm very monogamous.
Man,
my
hold,
brother.
please. Hey, I heard the word cheat.
I love you.
I really hate that word cheat, but it is what it
Cheating is a
is.
thing. Cheating is a thing.
What,
No, but I'm monogamous, so I have zero desire to step outside my marriage. I didn't get married till I was 45. It'll be 3 years this year, and I waited until I was ready, and I have zero desire to be with anybody else besides my wife. So
Has anyone ever
My
tried to
brother.
tempt you?
Every day, probably.
every day, every single day, they whether sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's not so subtle. I mean, just this. Well, I think like just a couple months ago, I had this woman say, we're gonna have sex before the summer's out, right?
Whoa.
You blocked her, right?
Wow. That was
Oh,
forward.
absolutely. Up top.
Right.
Yeah, up top. Cause, I mean, cause I didn't offer a response. I didn't entertain it. I just blocked her and kept it moving.
That's the thing to do. And you all, I apologize. We have a 2-hour time slot and we have exceeded our 2 hours. We're down to the final 30 seconds. It goes by so quickly. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Deborah, our guest, and everyone else, Shannon, Hook, please joining us. This is our closing seconds. Everyone, to all of our listeners, we're down to 15 seconds. The episode will be edited and then uploaded on our website for playback. So again, please join.